Hey, if my hair looks weird, I've literally cut it and now it looks extra short in a fucking ponytail. I feel crazy. Also, in case you're wondering, the black eye is healed from the last video, so that's epic. I'm probably the last people ever on the internet to make a video about this. If you've been on the internet in the last year or two, you probably would know of a thing called BookTok. If you don't know what BookTok is a side of TikTok that was originally supposed to be for people who enjoy reading, so authors promoting their books, people recommending book reviews, just discussions about specific characters in books, whatever. And I think it started out as, a pretty innocent thing. If you like to read, it's a good way of finding other people who like to read, or finding good book recommendations, or finding more people to talk to books about, or new authors, or upcoming books you're excited about. Like, I think it started out as a pretty good thing and like a good space. But I think, especially in the last few months, at least from what I've seen, it's kind of gone crazy. BookTok is now turned into, like, if you never had a Wattpad phase, I feel like now people have like a BookTok phase. I feel like I've kind of covered in like a video that I did before by one of the books I read in 2023, and I'm pretty sure I like kind of briefly touched on it there. But that's why I was like, you know what, I'll make a whole video about it, because BookTok is kind of crazy. And I have TikToks prepared for us to watch. So, I found some things that most of these aren't the original TikTok. There's stuff I've seen like on my view page of like stitches of people being weird. Okay, wait, I'm gonna need headphones for this. Why do people fantasize about this? This is like a worst nightmare possible. Like, I think we're collectively losing it, because it's like BookTok is just crazy with like romanticizing like the weirdest stuff. And I know realistically it's probably like the loud minority of people who, I can take these off actually. I know it's probably like the loud minority, if that makes sense, where it's like, I know most people on BookTok are generally there for like actual book recommendations and like being normal, but like you get people like this, which is like really freaks me out. I don't know, BookTok just like completely like romanticizes like the weirdest stuff, where it's like, why stay off that freshly, when she's not freshly pregnant, freshly post pregnant woman, I don't know what the phrase is. That woman just gave birth to your child, assuming. Leave that woman alone. Please leave that woman alone. This is another TikTok, and it's a screenshot of BookTok comments that are kind of crazy. Someone said, I got a stalker that stalked me for about 2 weeks. And then someone in reply said, as a BookTok girl, I'm low-key jealous. Huh? What? Huh? Oh wait, is it just the same thing? Is this a whole slideshow? It's just the same. Exactly what that TikTok said, we are doomed. But yeah, I think it is very scary seeing people comment these, because like I want to say that a lot of them are probably like young girls who maybe don't exactly know that some of these things, like, that's crazy, because they've probably been fed this stuff off the internet and think it's totally okay. Like, there's probably, like, when I was that age and I was reading stupid little Wattpad things, that probably screwed my brain up for a good couple of years. Like, but I know for a fact that some of the people who comment weird stuff like this, or who like make weird videos, are like grown women. So like it becomes a little weird then when it's like a grown woman commenting this weird stuff, because like you should know better, because as a child you're probably fed all this stuff of BookTok that you think is like normal, or like just off the internet in general, not even specifically BookTok. Like, you're gonna be fed stuff that is questionable, and as you grow up you'll probably look back and be like, oh, that was actually not a good belief that I held, or I should not have been thinking that way. But and sadly some people grow up and don't realize that, and then they are stuck in like this with these weird beliefs. Like, hopefully some of these BookTok people who are actually children currently, when they grow up, they will realize these beliefs are correct. That's why I'm hoping the more normal BookTok people can correct the weird BookTok people at some point and be like, hey, you shouldn't be thinking that. You shouldn't be romanticizing that. But it scares me when they're a grown women who are old enough to actually fully release a book, and then younger girls will read that book and then they'll be like, yep, this is normal. Like, I'm romanticizing this weird thing now because of BookTok. Like, being stalked, like that one comment about being stalked. Like, there's gonna be girls who will like that now because they've seen it on BookTok and think it's like cool or whatever.
He is a 10, but he also hit her with his car and broke her legs. He is a 10, but he also...
We could have unpacked these one by one, I think. The first one was, he is a 10, but he hit her with his car and broke her leg. I would say she should run away, but that's kind of insensitive because she just fucking broke her legs. I'm sure there's more to this, and there's probably context, and this is kind of probably like engagement bait in a way of like, why? But also at the same time, this got 44k likes, by the way. Like that's actually like kind of crazy, you know? And they're always like disguised as like dark romance books, and it's like when I picture dark romance personally, I picture like some vampire-y stuff or like some fantasy, like whoa, like a bit edgy. Like some of these, like I don't know about these books specifically. Maybe the book in her hand is a actual like fantasy type book or whatever. But I know a lot of these like dark romance ones, and it's just like some man working a business job. It's like, how you let him get away with knock you over? That's a lawsuit. Get your bag. Get your money up. Like, hello.
He is a 10, but he also poked holes in their condoms so he can shoot her.
Okay, you know, I'm pretty certain on this. I feel like that would classify as a crime beginning with R that I don't know if you can see on YouTube, but you know the word I'm thinking of. That's one of those ones where I'm like, I'm all about, you know, being a little silly with things and maybe romanticizing some things and are not that deep and are a little bit weird. But then I'm like, when it comes to like actually committing crimes, like that is crazy. And I'm not talking about like committing crimes like, oh my god, the boy in the dark romance book is like a bad guy, and he commits, I wouldn't say normal crime, but you know what I mean. Like he's the thief. He robs banks, so it's like, you know, something crazy. But poking holes in a condom is a crime. You should get locked up for that one, sir. And whoever wrote that, like, hello.
He is a 10, but he also tried to drown her.
Why are all of right? My biggest issue with all these is like, why are all of these crimes against women and are being romanticized? Yes, like that's actually like unfathomable to me. If you were I would specify women, but if you're anybody who likes to read books and are romanticizing acts of harm against you as a person, like drowning, knocking over with the car, you know what the other one classes as a certain R word. It's just insane to me to think that somebody would be like, yes, but he drowned. And like, I don't even know if I'm making sense. Like, I feel like I've lost all my brain cells watching these. I'm like, am I making sense right now? Maybe not. You kind of get where I'm coming from reading these. And I don't think I need to explain to you why it's bad to think someone drowning you is attractive. But like, I feel like I don't really need to go there. Like, I feel like I'm hoping people who watch my videos kind of have, you know, some like level of common sense. Be like, I think that's weird, you know? Okay, now we have another one, which is similar to the last ones.
There is no reason that I should be getting this unhinged over a man who is stalking this poor, innocent, unassuming girl.
Also, I want to say big shout out to this person who keeps putting these on my timeline. This is his ad. I always see him stitching them, making fun of BookTok. So thank you for inspiring this video. Again, this is kind of wild. Like, just being like, I really like this book about some girl being stalked, about some girl who doesn't know she's being stalked. Like, I know that's kind of what stalking is, okay? Like, I'm smart, I promise. It's just like, BookTok is just getting like wild. And I'm seeing a lot of stuff of like, all the books are being pushed on BookTok are like books with smut, which if you are familiar of what smut is, you didn't have the horrific Wattpad phase that I did as like a 12-year-old. I should not have been knowing about these things as a 12-year-old. In case you are confused, it's sexual stuff, you know? There's like books that I've fallen into the trap of, because I remember I was kind of like on BookTok, like I want to say like last year, like year before or whatever, and I got like a lot of book recommendations off there. And they went, I made a whole video reviewing some of the ones I read in this video. If that's something that interests you, you should go check it out. But like 2 books specifically I read, that one of them I thought was Icebreaker, which I thought was going to be like some cute little romance book based on the stuff I had seen, right? I hadn't really seen any proper review with it. It was just like, oh, it's good, and it's like some romance book, and I was like, okay, I'll read. When I tell you, every 5 pages, these people are getting down to it. Like, that's crazy. And it scares me because I know there's going to be a lot of like younger people on BookTok. Like, because it's TikTok, like obviously there's gonna be younger people on there. It scares me knowing that like some of these books are probably gonna get pushed out to them, like unknowingly in a way. Like, I don't know, where it's like, they're not gonna realize there's this stuff in it, that they're gonna read it. And I feel like I always see stuff where it's like BookTok daughter or like porn addict son, and it's like, I feel like one is clearly worse there, but like I see a lot of people making that like comparison. Basically, teenage girls are kind of falling down that route, which like I don't think it's like too extremely bad if you're reading some things to do with it, but then it's like when that's like the only thing you're reading and you can't read anything else that doesn't have any sexual stuff in it, I feel like that's kind of like an issue. And like it's producing just like this another level of brain rot. I don't think we need more brain rot. The internet's full of just different degrees of brain rot, and then this is like the girl equivalent that could go very south and go into like, actual porn addiction. Like, I don't know. I'm probably going to beat that word, but you know what word I mean. I'm not saying the TikTok version. I hate, this is a side note, but I hate on TikTok when people try to like get past the filter by using certain words on serious subjects, where it's like, you can just bleep out the word. But like, people will understand what you're talking about. You don't need to say the word like corn. Like, oh yeah, this is further proving my point, where it's just like, when you've only been reading smart books for 2 years and then try to read something with no spice. That's what no spice means. No sexual stuff. It's just PG. It's just PG-13. Is that the correct thing? I don't know. That's what I mean. It's like, that's like your brain is being rotted as we speak. Like, I think there's nothing wrong with reading it. Especially like if you're over 18, go for it, Like, there's been books that I've read that's got that in it. I think it's just odd if that's like the only thing you're reading, or like on the side of the internet that's like, gonna have a lot of like younger people reading books who like want to get more into reading, and then they're just constantly being pushed these like smut books, or like books with spice, as BookTok will call it. This is the last TikTok I found that came up my feed page actually the other day. I'll put the username up here somewhere, where it just says, when BookTok has successfully convinced men that women fantasize about the very trauma they fight nail and tooth over to get justice for, so now men are convinced that all women secretly want it, and ultimately being a hypocrite to their own beliefs of not all blank. BookTok is throwing propane gas on a massive bonfire. It's a catalyst and the green light to abuse. There's like some points. It's like, I don't think BookTok is like a complete thing of, they completely support abuse, but I definitely do think this is like an important conversation to have, especially with like, because I imagine there's some men on BookTok. I'm in my head, I'm picturing like the big straight men who accidentally stumble across things. Like a lot of people that I see on my view page who like stitch BookTok stuff, like realistically aren't the target audience, I'm kind of make fun of them. It's like, I'm kind of on that train of making fun of some bits of BookTok, although I know it doesn't represent everybody and it's just like the wrong ones. I definitely do think that, BookTok like that can be harmful when it is all completely like the last few TikToks we watched, like, oh, he's a 10 but he tried to drown her, or he's a 10 and he ran her over, he's a 10 and he tried to do very bad thing. Like, you do see the point being raised where it's like, this is horrific stuff, and people are going to think that all women are going to want that stuff, which obviously isn't the case. And I think most people with the brain will understand that, but there are going to be some people who will see that and are like, yeah, but women are like this, and just generalize. I definitely do think it could be an issue, and I definitely think it's a good conversation to have. If you made it to the end of this video, please leave your opinion on everything. What do you think of BookTok? Are you on BookTok? Do you dislike BookTok? Do you think BookTok is weird for this? Because like, give me your opinion. Make sure you like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. We're on the road to 300. Also, there's basically like the equivalent of like BookTok, but like on Instagram, and a lot of it just seems very, very silly. So if I may potentially make a video on that, so if you would also maybe want a video like that, let me know. I shall see you in the next one. Bye.